The smell of coffee is in the air. It must be time for another episode of The Art of Struggle. Welcome to another episode of my podcast called The Art of Struggle. You can hear me rant about art, video games, movies, pop culture, CGI, the industry, and much, much more. My name is Fatai Opawoye, and I'll be your guide as we explore the world of CG, pop culture, and the people who make it all possible. Yesterday, we talked about finishing your game and 5 tips for indie developers. So, we're going to continue on with that, and today's continuation will be number 3, which is to organize it. Game development is a complex process, and at some point, you'll have to break your project into smaller parts, which are the core mechanics, the story, the user interface, the audio, so on and so forth. And plan what exactly needs to be done. Though many small indie teams tend to minimize this aspect, I personally found planning and documenting very helpful in my project. I usually do the following things. Number 1, game design document. Having some general documentation on game concept and rules help to maintain a clear vision throughout the project. A vision that is easily accessible for every person involved, which is very important as you need to make sure that each team member wants to create more or less the same game. Number 2 on organize it is task assignment. There are many free online tools that let you create tasks. Assign them to people and monitor the progress. I use Asana, and I also recommend Trello, which is probably one of the most popular tools in indie game development. Number 3, timelines. Though you will probably experience many delays and miss your milestones, it is still advisable to have a rough timetable with basic stages, which is like the concept, prototype, alpha, beta, release. Just it keeps people more goal oriented and noticeably increase the probability of project finalization. All right, so that's the little section on organize it. Now we're going to talk about creating a prototype as soon as possible, which is number 4. As much as discussing and elaborating on your game concepts might be fun, in my opinion, there is nothing more motivating and rewarding in the game development process than making things actually work. Prolonged concept stages can make the team tired and skeptical. You need to create a prototype fast to keep the project going. Things I find particularly important in this area are the first one would be the purpose of the game prototype is not to make something that looks nice. The purpose is to make a very simple playable build that would enable us to test and verify our core design ideas. Number 2, even if you plan to create your own engine for your game, I strongly suggest using an existing engine, Game Maker, Unity, Unreal, Construct, whatever it may be, just to create the prototype. The whole point of creating the prototype is doing it fast so you can instantly test your ideas. Don't risk creating your own engine only to find out months later that the game is not as good as expected. Worst comes to worst, you can just sell your engine. Number 3, last but not least, let your friends play the prototype and get some valuable feedback. So that's number 4. Create a prototype as soon as possible. All right. Number 5, stick to the plan. Be consistent and persistent. Obviously, if your idea turns out not funny to play in a prototype stage, you have to change it. But if you already deep into the project, you should stick to it as much as it's possible. Iterate your design, but don't change it completely. Apart from the core idea, many new smaller ideas on how to improve your game will emerge during the project. But be aware that in most cases, you won't be able to implement even half of them. At some point, you'll just have to freeze the project. No more additional features, no more changes, just polishing. That is where the planning stage, especially the project timeline that I mentioned, proves helpful. Games, apart from being lines of code and interactive stories, can also be perceived as forms of art. When creating an art piece, you can never really determine for sure that it's finished. There are no guidelines or checklists other than your arbitrary created ones. There comes a moment when you just have to be brave and say to yourself, it's done. All right, I want to thank you for listening to this segment. I appreciate you guys coming out and definitely checking out this content. Do leave a comment, subscribe up there. This is The Art of Struggle. All right, so you guys know what I'm doing now is I'm gonna stop this, do it on my podcast on Anchor, which I do daily as well. I'm just adding this new video feature. All right, so it's 5 tips. Alright, so you guys should know how I like to finish out my episodes by now. You guys know how I like to finish out my episodes with awesome quotes from awesome people. Alright, let's find some awesome quotes. We're going to start with a fella by the name of Jim Rohn. He says, take advantage of every opportunity to practice your communication skills so that when important occasions arise, you will have the gift, the style, the sharpness, the clarity, and the emotions to affect other people. Betty Friedan said, aging is not lost youth, but a new stage of opportunity and strength. Jonas Salk said, the reward for work well done is the opportunity to do more. H. Jackson Brown Jr. said, there is nothing more expensive than a missed opportunity. Benjamin Disraeli said, the secret to success is to be ready when your opportunity comes. powerful one. I'm going to leave you with a quote by H. Jackson Brown Jr. He said, "Opportunity dances with those already on the dance floor." I'm gonna say that one again. Opportunity dances with those already dancing on the dance floor. In meaning, you got to be ready. You got to already be working. You know, it's that Bible saying, God helps those who helps themselves. You know, you got to be already in that position. You got to be working, and then opportunity, boom, you take it. You go. You run with it. You know, you don't want to have to look opportunity twice in the face, because chances are it's not coming back a second time. I want to thank you for listening to another episode of The Art of Struggle. Remember that you can catch all the episodes on Anchor Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, pretty much wherever you get your podcast from. You can watch the latest episodes on YouTube. The newest episode will probably be somewhere right there. You can definitely follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Art of Struggle. I want to remind you to keep making those art gains. Keep making those art gains. Keep struggling. Keep dancing. Keep painting. Keep singing. Keep programming. Keep modeling. Keep sculpting. Keep designing. Because the life that you want is on the other side of your struggles. As somebody who's made it on the other side, as a former student who's now working in the industry, I'm telling you, it's worth it. The struggle is worth it. You're going to struggle. It's going to be hard. You're going to have late nights just to, you know, it's going to take you 10,000 drawings. It's going to take you even more than that, you know, 10,000 sculptures, 10,000, you know, models to understand. But you have to be like a hammer with a nail. You have to be able to execute. So remember, keep making those art gains. The life you want is on the other side of your struggle. This is Ty on The Art of Struggle, signing out.